So we are continuing with our methods of data collection. We are going to the second method of data collection. Remember, we are still in the pre-field preparation. We have not yet gone for actual field work. We are still in the preparation stages, and we are looking at what is found in the preparation stage. What is done? If somebody asked you, what have you done? What preparations did you do before conducting field work? So that is what we are trying to cover. The second method of data collection is called the interview method. Interview method. What is interview method? By definition, interview method is a method of data collection that involves an interaction between two people, an interaction between a researcher and a respondent, in which the researcher asks questions and gets immediate feedback. So we have said that this is a method of data collection that involves a face-to-face interaction between the researcher and the respondent. In which the researcher asks questions and he gets immediate feedback. So unlike the other method we talked about of interview, unlike the other method we talked about of observation, interview method is a method of data collection that involves a face-to-face interaction. Sometimes we call it a dialogue, a face-to-face dialogue between the researcher and the respondent. For this case, who is the researcher? The researcher is the learner. The learner is our researcher, and then the respondent is that person who is guiding us through our questions. So the person we find at the area, the one who asked the questions, the one who has to tell us and respond to our objectives is called a respondent. So in this case, a face-to-face interaction between the researcher and the respondent, in which the researcher asks questions and gets immediate feedback, is termed as interview method. Still, I would like to tell you how this one is handled. Of course, in a form of questions, they will not require you to only define. No, they will require you to both define and tell the examiner how the method was used. So how do they set the question on this method? The question will read, how did you use observation method? Not observation, interview. How did you use interview method? To remind you a bit, I told you the first thing is identify the method. So in this case, interview is our method. After identifying the method, define it. Define the method. I have already defined it for you. The method of data collection. After defining, tell the examiner how it was used. How the method was used. Of course, we answer in a past tense form. How it was used, and when then, after using it, what were your outcomes? So if you can remember, we said that interview method is what? A method of data collection that involves an interaction or a dialogue between the researcher and the respondent, in which the researcher asks questions and gets immediate feedback. So after defining, you have defined the method, you have identified the method, defined it, then you go to the how part. How was it used? So to maybe I can as well write it down for you. I can as well write it down for you how it should be presented in an examination. How can I present it in an examination? I will say that interview method this is a method of data collection that involves an interaction or a dialogue between the researcher and the respondent. In which the researcher asks questions and gets immediate feedback. So that one is answering the defining part. Then you say how it was used. Using this method, begin by saying that while I was in Butiama, while I was in Butiama, I asked Mr. Tom. Tom becomes our respondent in this case. I asked Mr. Tom, what did you ask him? Problems facing people. Problems faced by the people in Butiama fish landing site. So, and he replied Problems like floods, problems like limited market, problems like poor hygiene, are some of the problems faced by people living in Butiama fish landing site. So in summary, that's how the method should be presented. At the same time, avoid repeating words when you are explaining the method, how the method was used. Say for example, you cannot say this is a method of data collection that involves an interview. When you bring an interview here in your definition, the method becomes wrong. At the same time, I was in Butiama, I interviewed. Once you repeat that word, you have to replace the word interview with another word. That's why we are using the words like I asked, I interacted with Mr. So and so to identify or to know what I wanted to know. So that is how the method should be presented. Similarly, like any other, it also has what? It also has problems or disadvantages and advantages. Advantages. Advantages of interview. Method. First and foremost, first-hand information is God. First-hand information is got because the person who have called the respondent gives you immediate feedback. So you get the information you want there and then. It does not involve a lot of movements, and therefore it is less costly because it does not require you to move here and there. So it is likely to be less costly. Then interview method helps you develop cordial relationship. It helps you establish a relationship with the people in the area of study. Through interview, you end up developing a good relationship with that person you are you are conducting your interview. The person you are asking, your respondent, at the end of the day, may become your friend. Does not require you to move a lot of distance, and therefore it is quite less tiresome, because it does not involve movement from one place to another. So meaning the method is quite less tiresome. We can as well look at some of the disadvantages. Some of the disadvantages of interview. It is subject to biasness. The respondent may not give you correct information. You understand? So meaning that if he is biased, he will not tell you exactly what you want. So in that case, therefore, you will not acquire what you. The respondent may not have the knowledge. He may not have the knowledge of what you want to know. Therefore, you will end up giving you wrong what? Information, because what you are asking him, he doesn't know. With interview method, you must be knowing the language barrier. It is a subject to language barrier.